All right, let's dive into a story that starts in a city on the absolute brink of collapse. We're going to see it all through the eyes of one man, whose visions would completely change the future for his family forever. This is the story of 1 Nephi, chapter 1. Let's get right into it.
Right from the jump, we know this isn't just some dry historical text. We're hearing a personal story. Our narrator, Nephi, tells us who he is right up front. See, this isn't just a chronicle of events, it's a testimony, a deeply personal record. And that's our way into this whole epic journey.
So, who is this Nephi, and what's his world actually like? To really get what's going on here, we have to imagine ourselves stepping back in time to a specific place and a moment that was just filled with tension and, frankly, a lot of uncertainty.
Okay, so picture this. We're in Jerusalem. The year is about 600 BC, right at the beginning of King Zedekiah's reign. Now, this isn't just some random date on a timeline. This is a moment of extreme political and religious chaos. The massive Babylonian Empire is breathing down their necks, and the entire kingdom of Judah is basically on a knife's edge. It's a total pressure cooker, and that's exactly where our story kicks off.
So right in the middle of all this turmoil, we meet our first main character, a man named Lehi. And we learn he's a father. He's lived in Jerusalem his whole life, and he is deeply, deeply troubled by what he's seeing happen to his city. And the person writing all this down, that's his son, Nephi. So we're getting a front row seat to his dad's pretty extraordinary journey.
And Lehi wasn't the only one feeling this incredible sense of dread. The streets of Jerusalem were apparently filled with prophets at this time, and they were all shouting the same really heavy message: repent, or this entire city is going to be destroyed. So you can just imagine the atmosphere, a city on edge with these warnings of doom echoing from every corner.
It's in this chaotic, high-stakes environment that Lehi has an experience that changes, well, everything. Not just for him, but for his entire family. This is really the moment that sets the entire record in motion.
So, how does this all go down? It actually starts with a prayer. Lehi is just pouring his heart out for his people, and suddenly he sees a pillar of fire. Then the whole experience just gets more intense. He's pulled into a vision, he sees the heavens literally part, and there's God on his throne, surrounded by choirs of angels. And then one of these beings, just shining with light, comes down and hands him a book. And the command is simple: read.
Now, let's be clear. This wasn't some quiet, peaceful, spiritual moment. This was a full-body, overwhelming experience. The record says Lehi gets home so shaken that he just collapses onto his bed, trembling like a leaf. This vision was real, and it was absolutely terrifying.
So, what on earth was in that book? What was the message that was so powerful it could shake a grown man to his absolute core?
Well, the message was just devastating. As Lehi reads, the words paint this horrifying picture of the future. He learns about the city's wickedness and the terrible price it's going to pay: total destruction, mass death, and the survivors being hauled off into exile in Babylon. It's basically a confirmation of every single warning he'd been hearing in the streets. But here's where things take a really surprising turn. Lehi's reaction? It isn't despair. It's praise. I mean, think about that. He's just seen a vision of his entire world ending, and his first impulse is to glorify God. This tells you so much about him. For Lehi, seeing God's plan, even a destructive one, is proof of divine power and mercy. It's a reason to rejoice in a truth that's bigger than his own personal tragedy. So now, armed with this vision, this message, Lehi can't just go back to his old life. It's impossible. He feels this overwhelming compulsion to act. He has to share what he's seen, no matter what it costs him. And so, he does it. He takes his message to the streets. He walks among the people of Jerusalem, the very people whose destruction he just witnessed in a vision, and he starts to prophesy. He doesn't hold anything back. He is no longer just a concerned citizen. He is now a public messenger for God. And the reaction? Well, as you can see, it was just this downward spiral of hate. When he called them out for their wickedness, they laughed at him. When he offered them a message of hope about a coming Messiah, they got angry. And when he warned them that Jerusalem would be destroyed, that anger just boiled over. They wanted him dead, just like they wanted to kill the prophets who came before him.
So Lehi's done what God asked. He delivered the message, and what did he get for it? Mockery, anger, and death threats. But Nephi, our narrator, doesn't leave us there, hanging in this moment of danger. he ends the chapter by giving us a promise that completely reframes everything we've just learned.
See, Nephi steps in here and talks directly to us, to the reader. He basically says, hey, I know this looks bad, but I promise you, this isn't a story about persecution. It's a story about deliverance. He's promising to show us how God's tender mercies, His protection, are real for those who are faithful. It's a huge shift in perspective that totally sets the stage for what's coming next.
And that's where we're left. The stage is set. You've got a city on the verge of total collapse. You've got a man with a divine message who's now got a death sentence from his own people. His life is on the line. But how do you just up and leave everything you've ever known, especially when you know it's all about to be destroyed anyway? What happens next is an incredible story of faith, of family, and a journey into the great unknown.